It's a bittersweet day for the people of Ontario. Today, the Ontario Provincial Police announced they have laid breach of trust and mischief charges against David Livingston, former Liberal Premier Dalton McGuinty's Chief of Staff, and Laura Miller, former Deputy Chief of Staff. These charges confirm a culture of corruption and abuse of the public's trust within the Liberal government and the Liberal Party of Ontario. I would like to thank the dedicated OPP officers for their investigations into the Ontario Liberal government and their attempt to continue to bring light to this disappointing situation. Over the last 3 years, more than the last 3 years actually, there have been serious allegations levied against several high-ranking officials in the government of Ontario. Liberal operative Jerry Lougheed Jr. and Premier McGuinty's Chief of Staff and Deputy Chief of Staff warrant criminal charges. How many key decision makers in the Liberal Party need to be charged before the Premier will stand up and take responsibility? This was a massive cover-up of a political decision by the Liberal government in order to win seats in the 2011 provincial election, as it turned out, at significant cost to the taxpayers. The hard drives were allegedly erased to help hide the government's mismanagement of the energy sector as a result of their politically motivated decisions. We've seen through this ordeal, as well as the Auditor General's recent report, that the Wynne Liberals charge ahead with little regard to the long-term impact its decision will have on Ontario families, all for short-term Liberal political gain. Every time this Liberal government makes a decision for political reasons, Ontario families pay. The cancellation of the gas plants, recall back then, they told us was $40 million. It took 2 auditors general to prove to the people of Ontario that there were actually $1.1 billion in unnecessary costs. Sadly, this is not the end of OPP investigations into the Premier's office. Pat Sorbera, the Premier Wynne's Deputy Chief of Staff, is still the subject of an OPP investigation of alleged breach of the Elections Act in relation to the Sudbury by-election scandal. Government officials must uphold the integrity, transparency, and lawfulness their positions require and the people of Ontario deserve. Premier Wynne campaigned on accountability and transparency, and Ontarians thought she would be different. Well, frankly, I can't imagine what Kathleen Wynne can possibly do to restore credibility to the office of the Premier now that the OPP has again laid charges against top Liberal operatives. This government has grown increasingly out of touch and continues to put their own interests ahead of the people of Ontario. It's up to the people now of Ontario to pass judgment on a government that has been riddled with numerous scandals. And this is only one of many. Taxpayers continue to foot the bill.